Very quick update. We just found a window of opportunity to leave the roadstead of Brest. We've been waiting for this exact moment for at least 2 weeks. And this could be the start of our trip, first to the south, to come back up north a bit before we actually head over across the channel to the United Kingdom, to England, Wales, and then continue our adventure there. Here's to our first leg of our trip. Absolutely amazing. I'm very impressed that we are out at sea today. We can't see land. For all we know, we could be in the middle of the Atlantic right now, and it's just beautiful to see her with her sails out.
Yeah, good feeling for everyone, I think. She looks great under sail, and it feels really good after a little over a year at the yard.
Yeah, you heard that right. A year at the yard. You'd have to be crazy. Well, this is Louise. We've been good friends since high school, and she's been passionate about the ocean and sailing for as long as I can remember. So in 2018, Louise quit her desk job and bought a sailboat called Hirondelle, which means swallow in French. Hirondelle was designed and built over 8 years by a Dutch couple living across the country. Because 2018 was the warmest year ever recorded, water levels were so low that they couldn't sail her home and had to go with road transport instead. She would need over a year's work full-time in order to make her seaworthy again. When I heard about the project, I hopped on a train from Brussels to go help out with the renovation and see it with my own eyes. So you can see that there was a lot of work to be done, but that doesn't really tell you what all of this was for. So I cut in a news report by a local TV station that summarizes the project fairly well.
Ultime vérification avant le départ pour l'équipage de l'Hirondelle. Avec ses 14 mètres de long, cette goélette s'apprête à partir pour 1 an dans les mers du Nord-Ouest avec un objectif bien particulier.
On va aller récolter sur le terrain, d'un côté, les histoires des gens qui habitent dans les régions littorales et qui sont déjà affectés ou qui voient déjà un changement environnemental qui affecte leur quotidien.
La préparation de ce périple aura duré environ 1 an. Une levée de fonds a même été organisée car la goélette qui vient du Doubs a nécessité plusieurs semaines de travail de restauration, mais aussi...
C'est bien sûr la recherche de partenaires qui nous aident pour l'achat d'équipements. Que ce soit l'équipement de sécurité ou les vareuses que nous portons.
Pour transmettre les récits de ceux qui vivent le littoral et agissent pour le préserver, l'équipage a prévu de recueillir une centaine de témoignages. Pour les aider, une trentaine de bénévoles viendront les rejoindre à bord. Le départ du voilier est prévu à la fin de la semaine, direction les îles Scilly, au large de l'Angleterre.
Unfortunately, even though boat and crew were ready, the sea was not. We were stuck in the port of Brest. All we could do was monitor conditions at sea, often with the insight of experienced sailors, who told us they had never seen the sea rough like this for so long. With waves of up to 7 meters and hurricane-strength headwinds, leaving the port simply was not an option, let alone cross the channel to sail to England. Our patience was tested over 3 long weeks, until one day,
We finally found a window, a small one and kind of difficult one, but we're gonna go check it out.
Il faut que vous passiez le Sein, le raz de Sein, avant une certaine heure. Donc je pense qu'on donnera un petit coup de moteur dans le boulet. On reprend ensuite à la voile, c'est important, ça va être.
I do wish you a lot of good luck.
Courage les gars et les filles. Amusez-vous bien.
Send us a postcard.
C'est des copains?
Quelques premiers épisodes et le premier épisode entier est disponible sur notre site.
Bonjour et bienvenue sur mon podcast qui vous raconte des histoires où les relations humaines.
It's not rainy, but we're still wet. We get a lot of waves in our face.
Welcome to Grivenec, a small fisher town on the very western end of Brittany, France. Sea conditions were so bad that we had to stop here, and that really wasn't our plan. You see, Grivenec was extremely dead, for lack of a better word. It really killed our morale. News about the coronavirus started to come in, and things were starting to look bleak. Also, the port was not as well equipped as we would have liked. There were no pontoons, so we tied up to a mooring buoy in the middle of the port. And this meant that the only way to make it to solid ground was with our little inflatable boat, which had a leak. We were rather isolated until one day.
We have neighbors. Maybe friends.
We quickly befriended our neighbours and invited them over to come watch our makeshift TV and follow President Macron's big announcement that evening, whom we expected to announce the first full lockdown in all of France.
Nous sommes en guerre.
Okay, so what just happened? We're considering to put an end to our one-year sailing adventure around the North Sea because the outbreak of the coronavirus and the reaction that governments have to it, it seems that this will make the continuation of our journey very, very difficult. You know, it's been really good so far, but I guess there's an end to everything, and this is how this story ends.
faisons route actuellement avec un vent à environ 3 nœuds.
Il n'y a pas de vent. Hein.
Non, pas de vent. On a trouvé sur la route 2 clandestins qui vont nous accompagner.
Eh, c'est pas Mario Kart, hein. Non, non, non. This is us following the strict government orders to stay confined, not touch anyone. We're even fishing in order to not put additional stress on supermarkets. I think this is the best spot on the boat. I really like these dolphin nets.
After what really was the greatest day sailing, we reached Lochtedi as we'd hoped. And unlike our previous home, Lochtedi was supposed to be well equipped, sailor friendly, and a beautiful place as well. A true safe haven to sit out the indefinite lockdown. However, we arrived unannounced, and as soon as we were done mooring, we were greeted by the port's manager, who had some very bad news.
Donc si j'ai bien compris, c'est l'apocalypse carrément quoi.
C'est l'apocalypse.
Là ils acceptent personne, en fait ils vous renvoient.
C'est un peu ce que tout le monde redoutait sans s'avouer. Et en gros, même les ports ne voulaient pas des bateaux, donc on est clairement dans la merde, on va couler et puis
On fait un sous-marin?
Bon, on voit la hache. Coule le bateau.
Before we got to sink our boat out of anger and frustration, we realized it had been hours since we last saw our friends who had set out with us for Lochtedi. We fortunately spotted them with the binoculars, but they were turning around back to the sea, probably thinking they weren't at the right port at all. So I quickly sent out the drone to signal to them that this was indeed the right port, which they then noticed and recognized, so they turned around and joined us in the Lochtedi to settle down for the lockdown. We had a couple of beers on the pontoons to put a seal on a beautiful last day sailing Hirondelle for the time being, as the sun was setting on Lochtedi. Before turning off the lights in my cabin for what would be my last night with Hirondelle and its crew, I packed my bag and planned my return trip to Brussels. I disembarked in the morning and left my friends in Lochtedi, where they'd be stranded for an indefinite time.
Could have been worse.
The dock's pretty big and the landscape is gorgeous.
After 6 weeks of boat life and adventure, my journey had come to an end. It was time to go home.
It just took me 1 hour 15 minutes in total to do a piece of the road that would have normally taken half an hour. So all in all, not that bad. 2 cars that were very worried I wasn't going to find anyone today to take me to the station of Quimper, from where I will have a train to Paris normally. So I'm going to see if it's still available.
That's all. Is history recorded? Does someone have a take? Surely I'm the pioneer. Cancellations stay the same.
What is there to know? This is what it is.
Oh, you and me alone. Sheer simplicity.